Then we get like the troop stops because they run across a Greystone, and Amethy asks him about it, and this is the first time we come across Greystones or Waystones, whatever you want to call them. It's the first time we come across them in the books, and Kvothe's like, every once in a while we run across one by the road. I gestured again to the Greystone peering over the tops of smaller trees by the roadsides. Like most Greystones, it was crudely hewn rectangle about a dozen feet tall. The wagons gathering around it seem insubstantial compared to the stone's solid presence. I've heard them called standing stones, but I've seen a lot of them that weren't standing, just laying on their sides. We always stop for the day when we find one, unless we're in a terrible hurry. I stopped, realizing I was babbling. I've known them by a different name, Waystones. And Waystones and Greystones are obviously monumental in the stories. This is how he gets into the Fae when he meets Felurian, and there's so many moments in his life where he comes across Greystones.
Yeah, huge moments with Denna. I mean, some of the most pivotal moments of his entire life. He's at a Greystone at the beginning, or he's at a Greystone during the moment, or at the end. They're markers for his life experience, and they're definitely they're channels to another world. I mean, we get that multiple. I mean, throughout.
He seems drawn to them,
yeah,
because
well.
like they're obviously pivotal as far as being able to transition to the Fae or to another plane of existence, but he seems to be drawn to him because there's so many moments in his life where he's around Greystones, and whenever the Chandrian are around, they seem to be near Greystones, so it seems to be a significant marker in the world.
I also like that his bloodline, his family, respects and has a respect for the mystique around Greystones, and they stop at them and they don't fully understand why. They give reasons for it, but they clearly don't fully, it seems like at least, they don't fully understand why. It almost seems like it's just something that's born in. At least I get that impression.
No, yeah. It dates them, where it seems like this is a tradition that's been passed on, and they don't remember why the tradition started. I think it dates the Rue back to maybe the Ruach or the Fae, or it dates them where it seems like they used to know that these things were portals to the Fae, and now they don't. They don't grasp it anymore, but the tradition seems to date them. It seems like probably goes pretty far back.
Yeah, it's really...
Arladin asks him, Arladin says two describing words, tradition, and what's the other one?
I think good luck.
Yeah,
they start to talk about them.
Tradition, my boy, and then something else.
Well, but then they start to talk about them. Well, tradition and superstition. They're one and the same.
Yeah, that was it.
We stop for good luck and because everyone enjoys an unexpected holiday.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think they're obviously pivotal to the story. And I think a huge clue, which I actually, one of the benefits of redoing this episode is, like, as I was listening to it today, like, I came across something that was like it clicked in my mind, and I think it's probably obvious to a lot of people who've read the books. I'm almost certain many people have picked this out. It's just for whatever reason it never clicked in my mind, and it wasn't something I researched.
All right, here we go.
But this time listening to it, it fucking clicked in my mind. So you had when he recited the poem about the Greystones, he goes, like a drawstone, even in our sleep, standing stone by old road is the way to lead you ever deeper into Fae. Lay stone as you lay, in hill or dell, Greystone leads to something L. I think it is almost 100. Do you guys have any guesses?
In hill or dell, Greystone leads you into the deepest depths of hell. Tim?
Baron Bellamy.
Yeah, yeah.
What is it?
What I think it is Laystone as you lay in hill or dell, Greystone leads to Faeriniel.
Oh, yeah, Faeriniel. Now, wait a minute.
It is almost 100% Faeriniel.
Faeriniel is the place where that one guy from the story met the...
Correct. Skiop is in Faeriniel, and that's where we hear about the Circle of Greystones. And it's also, like we talked about in the last episode, Faeriniel is the place of, a road that, it's a place that you don't travel to.
I'm going to say...
It's a place that, a road you don't travel to or something like that.
I'm going to say wrong.
That's got to...
Completely incorrect. Laystone as you lay in hill or dell, Greystone leads to Mere Terreniel. Boom.
Yeah, that would also fit. It's just it wouldn't align as well.
Well done, guys.
Faeriniel. Now here's what it would tie in is Faeriniel is a place is a road you don't travel to. So if you have to go to a Greystone to get to Faeriniel, then that is not a road that you travel down. You have to go through a portal to get to Faeriniel. Or Faeriniel. But also, I think the Circle of Greystones is where the Doors of Stones are. And so I think this is the reason Faeriniel, I think, is important, is that's where the Circle of Greystones are. So I think this is giving us our clue on how you get to Faeriniel. You have to go through a Greystone. You have to go through a portal to get to this in-between land.
Or at least you have to go through the Fae to get there.
That's not quite the Fae. That's not their land. It's this in-between land that you have to get to. That maybe it's like the in-between space between the Fae and their world.
Is this where Kavoth chased Felurian?
Felurian, yeah. Well, he took off running.
Because I think that was in their world. I think there's a portal that leads you to a specific portal that leads you to Faeriniel.
Okay, so
that is like an in-between place that's not quite the Fae, that is not quite their world.
So is it the road he's walking on as he then sees Felurian?
No. I don't think so. I don't see any connection between those because he just goes past that Greystone and he's in the Fae. And then when he leaves, he goes from the Fae back to his world. It doesn't seem like there's this big open space with a circle of Greystones. It seems different. It seems like these Greystones lead you through portals that, can lead you into the Fae, or maybe can lead you into a different dimension that is not quite the Fae, that is not quite your world. It's kind of outside of them.
Well, then where's Felurian? I mean, I'm saying it because this is when we go into
Felurian's
the Fae.
in the Fae.
Okay, but that's what I'm saying. That's why it seems reasonable.
I'm saying Faeriniel. I'm saying Faeriniel might not be in the Fae. It might be outside of both of them.
It's not a. It's not like it's.
I mean, it
a
could
new moon or something.
It could be in. It could be in the Fae, but I don't think that's correct because then you could have accessed Faeriniel from going and seeing Felurian, and then he could have just wandered around the Fae and found Faeriniel. I think there's a specific access point to get to Faeriniel that you cannot get to.
Well,
from other
portals. I mean, we talked about that in the last episode. I think there's a time component, there's a location, there's obviously a lot to it, and this poem speaks to that as well, which is nice. It's another element that brings in, that roadmap, so to speak, which is hard to piece together because obviously it's not clearly laid out for people, but. Yeah, I mean, I draw on that because that's my experience of someone going into the Fae,
Yeah, and I'm just saying, I don't think Faeriniel is in the Fae. I think it's outside the Fae. I think it's like a in between. It's a road in between. It's not a road for traveling. I think there's something distinct about this place. And if you're gonna hide the most dangerous fucking person that's ever existed in this world, Ajax, you're not gonna just want to hide him in the Fae with a bunch of fucking nut jobs like Felurian. You're gonna want to have a specific place that they can't just easily access.
Yeah, you don't want someone like Dan just walking in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Some random
You
chance.
want like a specific place. And now what's interesting is what it connects it to me is like if he's saying, you know, the Waystones lead to Faeriniel, I'll go into a theory in episode 8 on who I think Skarpi might be bigger picture. I'm not going to go into now because it'll just step on that episode. I go into some detail on who exactly I think Skarpi is. But you guys know what I'm talking about. And I think Skarpi is going to be the person who gives him the information he needs to get to Faeriniel. Because of what you know, like I'm going to talk about in episode 8. And for the audience, when we get to episode 8, just remember this conversation because it will all circle it back around on why I think Skarpi is connected to Faeriniel. But I do think he's connected to Faeriniel, and I think that they are going to meet again. I think Kvothe, when he talks to Chronicler about Skarpi, it seems like they are very familiar with each other, so I think they are going to meet again in Book 3, and I think what they're going to meet on is either Skarpi's going to tell more stories that gives Kvothe the information he needs to get into Faeriniel, or he's going to lead him to Faeriniel. It's going to be some aspect of Skarpi that Kvothe gets from him to get into Faeriniel, to learn where the Waystone is, to get into Faeriniel. I think it's almost baked into the cake that Skarpi is going to be the one to tell him how to get there.